Good morning, everybody. Hi, Sam. I just see you just jumped in there. I'm trying a little system here for live streaming. Oh, and that's the problem I'm going to have. I paused that. That's it. I'm trying something. The chat should move, but I don't know. See if I can get this working on my. I was trying to figure out if I could do it all on one screen. You know, the things we try to figure out. So Sam's in here. I saw Thanatos and Carlito were in here earlier. NYC is in here. Good morning. He's recovering from the hunt last night, dude. All right, I'm going to start with the coffee side of this. So, oh, my thing is saying it went a little bit wrong. Hopefully, I'm still live. If anybody's having a problem, let me know. The live stream on my iPad just conked out. Looks like I'm frozen here as well. That's not so good. I'm hoping if everybody can still see me, let me know. It looks like it just died out on me. I'm jumping back in here. Loud and clear for Comics NYC. Well, that's good. My iPad might be just knocking crazy. Yeah. So the joke, as a teacher, you get a lot of coffee mugs, and I have several sizes at my house. We have kid size, we have normal size, we have teacher size, and then we have what I would call the Bueller size. and I need Bueller size after last night, just to be able to kind of wow, you know. Crimson Ghost Comics, nice to see you here, sir. So as you can see in the description, I don't have my kids with me today. It is just Saturday morning comics with me. If you really, really want a kid fix, go watch the one from last week where I had 4 kids here. That was something else. But last night I was up late watching The Hunt. It started a little late, and then it had to like wait to get started because JD was rushing to get home from Aquaman and all that kind of stuff. It was an entertaining episode. I want to say, like, I was blown away by the books that people found. There were some amazing Golden Age books that JD found, some classic Bronze Age stuff that Tony is always finding. And then my boy, Jeffrey Henson, Jeffrey Comic-Con, who went live with me twice yesterday, he pulled out some amazing Doctor Strange books, some really, really cool ones. And then he had some spot-on first appearance books, and I was trying to stay up late to vote for him. But I ended up falling asleep like in the middle of the live stream. It was bad. And I'm on the West Coast. Like, that's like, I'm not even talking about like NYC or I got issues. Some of those guys back East ways that were like, you know, up crazy late. So I'm sporting a Bueller sized cup this morning. I also took, it was me and another dad. We took 7 kids with us. Yeah, 7 kids to go see Spider-Verse yesterday. And it was spectacular. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time. Yeah, amazing, spectacular, superior, whatever spider adjective you'd like to have. So I'll spend a little time going over that at some point just to kind of let you know what's going on. But yeah, I agree. It was a long hunt last night. And my joke in the chat, I think at one point was JD tells the absolute best stories, but they get really long when he's been having a few or he's in a good mood. And he was tearing it up. It was a riot. I think it was long. It was long. And then they never voted, which is what NYC is saying. I was kind of bummed that at the end they didn't vote on the hunt. I think everybody just felt like JD gets it because he found that Dracula cover, or not cover, the Golden Age first appearance of Dracula, which is incredible. But you know, at the same time, it was like you want to have an official vote, especially for the people that were staying up late. You know, those Kachung Comics NYC people that want to stay up late and want to vote. Excuse me. I know that I Got Issues was even saying in the chat when I rewatched the ending that I missed. He was saying, "Dude, I stayed up to the end just so I could vote, and now I don't get to vote." But it did seem like a lot of love for Jeffrey. And I love all those guys. They're honestly a really, really great crew of guys. I've just gotten to know Jeffrey a lot with live streaming and chatting with him and spending a little time. So I just was blown away by his haul this week. He really did some great things. Good morning, Carlito. Dude, I'm still tripping on the gift side. Where I got this from Bake the Snake, from you, from NYC, from Matt, who was in here earlier. Christmas came early to me. I thought I had blown a lot of money on comics this year, and that this Christmas was going to be like everybody, I'm buying these books, and that my family will give them to me. That was going to be the big Christmas thing for me. But Jeffrey and I had a great talk yesterday when I was opening it up, just about how this doesn't happen in any other community that I know of. No hobby that I know of. No community that I've been a part of. No occupation that I've ever seen. It just doesn't happen. It's just unbelievable. So what I wanted to do today was just kind of go over. I'm almost fully caught up on my comic books. I've been trying to read what I buy and to skip things that I'm not enjoying. So I cut out Spider-Geddon. I cut out a lot of those things. And thankfully, a bunch of the books that I've been collecting lately that I've been getting for a new comic book day have finished. And I don't have to worry about getting any more of those. I can kind of just be done with it. Sadly, there's a few more that are taking their place. And I'll have to kind of give those a shot and see how it's going. Dude, yeah, Carlito, it was clear. You and Matt, both of you right there in the chat, like, gave things that meant something to you. And they now mean a huge amount to me as well. So it's just wild. Some people said they got tickets to see Spidey on Christmas Day, excited to finally see it. And he saw Crimson saw Aquaman last night. So I haven't seen Aquaman yet. I have a few buddies that did go to see it, and they had great things to say. And they're not huge DC fans, which is a good sign for me, because the only one I've loved of basically since Heath Ledger as Joker, the only DC movie I've loved is that one Wonder Woman movie, which I have right here. That's it. So I'm excited to hear that maybe this one could be as good as that. That could be worthy of all of that. What I did see, and what I'd love to start with here, is Into the Spider-Verse, and I'm going to do spoiler-free. I'm not gonna ruin it because it's only been out a week, and clearly there's people like Crimson Ghost who are going to go see it, and I'm not going to ruin it. But I'm going to say this, and I went to see it with a friend of mine who has daughters, and they're about the same age as mine, and I brought my two nephews who are visiting from up north, San Luis Obispo area. And then I brought my girls. So we had 7 kids in the audience, and me and this dad who both love comics. We chat comics a bunch, and everybody loved it. Nobody hated it. Nobody even disliked it. And the second the credits started rolling, I turned to this buddy of mine and I said, what I'm going to say to you now, which is, I do believe this is the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. And that's high praise coming from me. I love the Dr. Octopus Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. I think it's a great movie. I really, really enjoyed Homecoming. This is the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. I think it's also destined to maybe become the Batman Mask of the Phantasm of the Marvel universe, the Marvel animated universe. I think it's going to be a film that holds up that way. You know, people are still talking about Batman, the Mask of the Phantasm today as like their favorite Batman movie. I've seen it in chats all the time. People coming in and saying the Nolan films were great. They liked Tim Burton well enough, but that Mask of the Phantasm is their favorite and their favorite Batman. I totally can see people saying the same thing about Spider-Verse in 8 or 10 years. And for me, I was like blown away. The pacing was really amazing. The way they tell Miles Morales' story was perfectly done. You care a lot about this kid and his family and everything that's going on there. They did not rush through any of it. The animation style. Sorry, I'm hearing a noise. It's possible my wife is awake. The animation style is incredibly high. Like it pulls on cartoons, it pulls on digital animation, it pulls on classic like hand-drawn animation. It is really, really, really well done. I just on every level, it was a huge hit. The music, the comedy, the action, it just tied so many things together. So if you haven't seen it, get your folks together. I'll say Ryan, I know Aaron is not a big Spider-Gwen fan. Hopefully she likes Miles Morales a little bit, but the movie is really funny. And among my favorite parts is Jake Johnson, who plays Nick on The New Girl. He's an up-and-coming kind of like comedy actor. You might have seen him on The New Girl or in some movies. He does an amazing job as one of the Peter Parkers in the movie. He is really funny, and his delivery is perfect for that character. Okay, so Ryan says he's working on 2 movie dates with Tom so that he can fit everything in. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to fit in. You could try the old double feature I used to do, where you pay for one movie, you sneak into the other, you just back to back it. I will say, it's possible I still hold the record for this. My friends and my brothers and I, when we were in college or something, we planned a movie day where we went in, we bought a ticket for the very first movie in the morning, and we planned out our day. We hopped from theater to theater, and we were there until past midnight. We saw 6 movies from beginning to end in one day. And there were like 6 of us that went, but like people came and they knew what movies we were going to see. So they knew that like, oh, at 12 o'clock, we're going to see, I think might've been one of the Die Hard movies, Live Free or Die Hard or something. There was like a lot of choices that were in there. They would show up for that one movie or whatever. So we paid for one ticket, Matt, and we saw 6 movies. It was insane. It was a riot, and we were so bleary-eyed at the end, like you couldn't really enjoy any of it. Nowadays, my theater got wise, and they took the names of the movies off of the marquee. They just left the theater number, because in the old days, they used to tell you the time and the movie, so you could walk out of one and be like, okay, there's a 4 o'clock of what Incredibles, and you'd walk down until you found that one, and you'd go in. But they're wise to that now, so they don't have that setup anymore. But it was a lot of fun, dude. It was a really good time, and I want to say this was, I think the final movie we saw was Ratatouille. So it must have been the year Ratatouille was, the Christmas time or holiday season when Ratatouille was in the theaters, because that's when we did it. So whatever year that was, that's when we saw it. That was a lot of fun. So that's all I'm going to say about Spider-Verse. I hope some other people saw it. It looked like a lot of people said that it was amazing. Best superhero animated film outside of the DC animated universe, says Carlito. That's huge high praise. I agree, Carlito, with that. Call the police on John. He's breaking the rules. I used to work in a movie theater. Besides working at Hollywood Video, I also worked at a movie theater. And yeah, I would sneak popcorn and sneak into theaters all the time. That was kind of my gig. But that's part of the fun of it. It's still possible. Carlito says the Midwest, you can still do it. And it's honestly, it was a lot of fun. And I'm sure the theater made money on us, because we were there all day. We were eating hot dogs and eating the worst food ever, because I had my pockets stuffed with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the whole day. It was stupid crazy. But it was a lot of fun. It was a good laugh, no question. And everybody had a great time. And again, you had to tough it out. One of my buddies wore contacts, and one of them like started irritating his eye, and he had to like pop that contact out. His eye started swelling up, and he had to watch the movie with like one eye the rest of the day. It was bad. It was just stupid silly. Comics NYC said his car was stolen at a movie theater parking lot in high school by your ex-girlfriend. Ooh, that's bad memories. Yeah. But at least you got it back, I hope. I mean, fingers crossed. That sounds crazy. All right. So if anybody saw Aquaman and wants to shout out the quality of Aquaman, it sounded like JD thought it was good, and some buddies of mine thought it was good. I've got a few books here that I've been reading lately that I finished up. One of the stories I finished up is the Infinity Wars that Marvel has been doing. I was pretty disappointed by the ending. So the final issue that I got was one of the I guess as a connecting variant. I was overall disappointed, but knowing that it was only 6 issues long, I kind of just stuck it out for the end. The new Infinity Wars, Marvel Infinity Wars, I would say skip it if you haven't read it. It kind of turned me off to crossover events, I think, for a while. I don't know that I'm going to dive into any huge crossover events. I know that Jason Aaron has a Thor storyline, I think, that Russell Dodderman is going to do the art for, and I might look at the War of the Realms at some point. But no, it was not worth it, not worth your time. I know that technically this is probably considered an event series, this Dead Man Logan. And I did the breakdown with Bueller for the first episode on our comic book club, and I picked up issue 2. This is a solid second issue. This was really entertaining, and I'm excited to kind of see how this all connects. I'm into the Old Man series. I love Old Man Logan, the original trade, the original story. I loved, obviously, Old Man Hawkeye, which I'll get to in a second. And this is sort of connecting in a big way, sort of tying a lot of this stuff together. I'm curious about Old Man Quill, which is coming in March, I think. But I'm just not ready yet. I don't know if I'm ready to pick up that one yet. We'll see if it becomes a book club choice. But looks like Carlito, or Comic Books NYC, says he liked issue 2, and I thought it was good. A good follow-up, and I'm hoping they can keep the quality level high through the 12 issues. Ryan says Metal turned him off to events. Yeah, there's, it's kind of like a really rich, sweet dessert, like sometimes that first bite is like, wow, this is really different and really an enjoyable treat. But if you have like 12 of them in a row, it's like, okay, I'm getting it's a little much. Like it's too much. There's no other flavor to really enjoy in that meal. And so for me, I think I just need a break. I'm enjoying the solo stuff far more than the big event kind of things. Kachung shouts out Blackest Night, and I'm not there yet. I'm still working on the Sinestro Core War, because every time I get started on it, something takes the focus away, and I'm not there. I'm hoping my daughters aren't watching at Grandma's house, because I was going to share something, but we'll see if they're tuned in. We'll find out. They should be having fun with their cousins and not paying attention to their YouTube channel. Ryan says he's having trouble thinking of a line-wide event that didn't completely unravel by the end. It's tough. I enjoyed House of M a lot, and I know that crossed over with a lot of other comics, and I think it's an underrated storyline. I know that Civil War, I'm reading that currently. I've read the trade, and now I'm getting into the tie-ins, and that one connected across a lot of comic books, and that was really blew me away. So those were both ones that I would give fairly high praise to, as far as tie-ins with several different comics altogether. Matt, I'll see you later, buddy. Enjoy your work. Hopefully you get a good break here soon. So that brings me to, I should check in with the chat. Amber Heard really surprised me, Carlito says. Never been a fan. Previously thought she couldn't act, but you were wrong. Okay, good. That's good to know. Carlito says Dark Knight's Metal. He loved Metal. I thought it was great. I know there were a lot of people on either side of the Dark Knight's Metal kind of series, and I told Carlito I've got to reread it. I'm going to take those up with me when I go on our little ski-cation that we're doing. I don't ski. I usually just sit by the fireplace and drink a big, something. Who knows? So I'll try to catch up on a lot of that stuff. So here is the book that I was saddest to read, the final book in Old Man Hawkeye. I was really, really sad to see this series come to an end. It's been so good. And it lived up to the interests for me. It was beautifully graphic and violent and wonderfully sarcastic, and it brought to an end a lot of the Bullseye. I think Avalanche is in there. Hawkeye and Kate Bishop storylines. It really wrapped up a lot of that stuff and then left it all set up so that if you read that trade, you could go right into Old Man Logan. Those two kind of, there's a little gap that's set up in between. It also introduced some new characters that might be able to go off in other directions, which I was totally fine with, because that universe, in my opinion, is a very rich one. It's kind of like the Mad Max Fury Roads, those universes. you could imagine a lot of stories happening all around the main story that you're watching. And it's kind of the same. When they wrote Old Man Logan, that first story, I felt like it was a rich universe. And this was the first time I felt like somebody really tapped into that and did something well. Crimson Ghost says the trench is a big part of, or an important part of the movie for Aquaman. And I know that Ryan and Tom made that comment when they did their trench breakdown, which is one of the only Aquamans I've ever read, and it was really good. So I would not be surprised if they included some of that from what I saw in the trailer breakdown that Ryan and Tom did. Comics NYC says he'd give Wonder Woman an A- and Aquaman a B-, but still has that above most of what the DC universe is throwing out. So that's a compliment, in my opinion. Carlito says, dude, Ryan, the trench. Yeah, right? My nerd excitement for Aquaman goes and it hinges greatly on how much they use the trench. That's a fair comment. It's a fair comment. It seems like they're using the trench and then the storyline right after, where it's like who's going to be the taking over the throne of that whole underwater universe. I've got my last book that I was going to go over. I'm caught up on Batman 60, and then this week 61 is the issue that came out. And I will say this was the most confusing Batman that Tom King has done at this point, and I was definitely confused. I had to read it several times just to kind of understand what was going on. I'll get to that in a second. Discovery Bay has a great comment. I don't want to ruin it, but that's definitely a good comment. The Batman storyline, King is doing this really cool thing where he's hearkening back to his older stories and bringing that stuff in. So I'm excited to see how he kind of pulls those stories like Booster Gold and that whole drama of the time travel. And there's a Batman that is Thomas Wayne in another alternate universe. Bruce and Martha died, but Dad lived, and he became Batman. And they had a little storyline with that. Now it seems to be bringing some of that drama back, but then this issue almost seems like a standalone where we kind of see several timelines all sort of crumbling together of, a Batverse kind of a problem. But it is not really well explained, and I don't know if that's because they're setting something up or what. Bueller says he's going back to bed. Happy Christmas, John. Love you, buddy. Hey, Bueller, you are the best, man. And I'm looking forward to you and Sam and Jeffrey, three of my all-time favorite guys, all together doing a show again here soon. I think it's on after the live auction that Legend is running tonight. And Legend's auction, I think, starts at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. So check out the auction. And when it's done, look out for those three West Coast guys, because Bueller and Jeffrey and Sam, like, you can't get better than those three guys. Like, I loved their last live stream. I think it's always a lot of fun, and I find myself laughing and learning and enjoying it. So definitely check that out. So for anybody reading these storylines, I know Ryan's trying to catch up, so I'm not trying to ruin it at all for Ryan. I like the way King weaves things together. I was just really confused, and I'm definitely going to need issue 62 just to kind of make sure where I am. Because issue 60, had a huge cliffhanger ending, and I was excited to see what would happen next. But that's not what they did. 61 jumped to something totally different, and that big jump threw me a little bit, and I'm trying to see how they tie it back in to get where they are in the current run. Comics NYC says he's behind on the current Batman, but I have the issues. Okay, it's a lot to read, and they're releasing it every 2 weeks now, so they're pumping it out pretty quick. So I'm excited to see kind of what they do with it, but I'm not quite sure how long it'll last. I'm hoping they'll congeal it into something. Ryan says he's in the mid-40s, which is right before the wedding, because 50 is the wedding. And then there's some good stuff right before it. And then I honestly, everything that's after it, I was riveted. I was super into. And some of them read really quickly. So I'm excited for that as well. I have a couple of videos coming up I want to throw out here and mention. I'm doing one more of my top 4 videos. That's the end of the year wrap-up videos. It's really going to be a video looking ahead at what I want to get in 2019. And there are so many books. I'm trying to figure out how to share it all. There's nothing to hold up because there are books that I don't have yet. So I'm going to try to put that together and figure out a way to either live stream that or something. So that's coming up here soon. On Wednesday, we're doing a special book club. We've chosen to do a year-end wrap-up, and it'll be Alec and I kind of talking about the books we collected this year and the storylines from this year that were really important to us and the art that was really important to us. So that'll be on Wednesday night on Alec's channel. So make sure to tune in for that on Wednesday. We will not have a Saturday morning comics next week. We will be up in the mountains of Utah, and I'm not even certain how good the internet's going to be. I'm hoping that my Wednesday with Alec will not be interrupted by shoddy internet. Otherwise, I may have to go to my cell phone and just use my minutes or my streaming, whatever, and hopefully get that to work together. Carlito says, without spoilers, why did a lot of people not like the wedding and surrounding issues? It's a great question, and I think it's all the setup, personally. I think if you were to just read the issues, you probably wouldn't be as upset as you would be if you were going week by week, enjoying the build-up. There were wedding invitations sent out. Everything was wedding themed. There were like so many variants, so many things happening that they built this machine up. They even had a 5-issue prelude to the wedding comic book that was like separate to the storyline, and they had like 5 issues there. It was like everything was wedding. Everything was building up. It was wild. And it wasn't even just in Batman. It was elsewhere as well. Other books, and my store had midnight sales. They had things. It was built up too much. And I think that they couldn't live up to that. Personally, having reread a lot of it and reading those prelude to the wedding, those 5 issues, the wedding issue had to happen the way it did. And I'm firmly okay with the writing decisions that were made. I'm not okay with the advertising marketing side of it because they built that up to be something it wasn't. I would say a better solution would be the Rogue Colossus, the Colossus Kitty Pryde wedding that the X-Men did, where they didn't build it up as big and they paid it off with a twist. Like I understand that wedding didn't happen. If you read X-Men, they didn't get married, Colossus and Kitty Pryde, at the last second, but somebody else did. And that was a fun way to still give the audience a little bit of what they want, but to let them not see it coming. And I think that was the big frustration. I enjoyed the prelude to the wedding comics, one for Damian and Ra's al Ghul, one for Nightwing, one for Red Hood, one for the Joker. It was like all those key people in his life and their perspectives on what would it mean for Batman to get married. And it all, in my opinion, led to the inevitable result of issue 50. It's just, I think the hype machine was crazy. Every shop I went to had wedding invitations. Here, take one, take one. And it was basically just an announcement for issue 50, but they were using it as, they were printed like a wedding invitation. It was just a lot. And I really enjoyed the writing. I really enjoyed the story. I loved the issues before and after. I loved the way it bled into Catwoman as well. I've enjoyed the journey that she is on. So both Bruce and Selina kind of retreated to family, and Bruce spent a lot of time with Dick Grayson, and she's gone off on a family journey to Europe. And I think both of them retreated into the core of themselves, and they have to face a lot of the inner demons. And for Bruce, it's that whole violence thing. He's gotten incredibly violent, and he's got to question his violence and where it's taking him. And so I just really enjoyed the psychological ramifications of issue 50. But I understand. I mean, I totally understand. I still have the wedding invite posted on my fridge, says Crimson Ghost. Yeah, I mean, it was a huge deal. And I just think they built it up too much. And I think that was a problem. And it frustrated a lot of people, especially imagine if you spent all this money to get all those variants because you're buying them in advance. You want to have all of these things. You think it's going to be this huge collector item, and you also care about Batman, and you care about Catwoman, and you enjoying all this stuff, and you buy it all. And then you feel so let down. And those variants plummeted in their value. Not that you should be buying those things for their resale, because I mean, I'm buying them for the story. If my girls would freak if I ever sold all of these Art Germ Catwoman covers, and I'm buying them for the story. I'll have a little set of them if Art Germ stops doing that at some point and starts doing, because I hear he's going to do Wonder Woman. But like, you gotta, like Reggie always says, you gotta buy what you love, and then if it goes up, you feel good about it. If it doesn't, you feel like, I have a book that nobody appreciates the way I do, that I have this hidden gem. You know, his whole Random Run series is full of great stories that all of us, or at least I, missed out on. And I love that kind of thing. So, you know, if you collect what you love, I don't think it's ever a huge issue. Tacoma Comics is in here, dude. How's it going, man? You think Tom King had any control over it? I'm sure Tom King was involved, and I'm sure he knew that it would be this big event. But I'm sure that there's a machine of marketing involved that you can't control, like the sheer quantity and magnitude of that stuff. I'm sure some of that is out of your control. So, you know, I'm sure it wasn't all just in his hands that way. So I'm going to get out of here. I don't want to take up more of your guys' day. I love that you're reading it removed. I think if you read those Batmans removed from the controversy, like you're doing NYC, I think you'll get more enjoyment out of it. Yeah, I agree. Tacoma, people are buying them for their variants, for their covers, which is, for me, it's closely connected to slabbing books. You're only ever going to see the cover, so of course buy it for the cover. I'm just a story guy, and so is Ryan, and I think I just go straight to wanting to know what's on the inside of a book, and slabbing it. I want to be able to enjoy the book. Now, if I was planning on reselling a book, the slabbing makes a lot of sense, because there's security for the seller, the buyer that I'm selling it to. But for my own taste, I want my books to be able to be read and enjoyed, and my girls to be able to appreciate the interior work, not just the cover and the value of the book inherently. But that's just me. I'm also cheap, and I don't want to drop several $100s to send a set of books to CGC. I would rather, like Bueller often says, I'd rather take that money if I was going to spend. And if I'm sending a bunch of classic Silver Age valuable books to CGC, I'm sure it will be several $100s. I'd rather take that and get more books. But that's me. You know, I'd rather do that. That doesn't mean anybody else has to agree with me. It's just how I collect. And Reggie is the first guy that says, take this information, do your own thinking and research on it, and you'll come to your own conclusions, because that's where he went with it. And I totally respect his decision and why he does it. It's just not me. And it's cool that we can be two totally different styles of collectors who came up at almost the exact same time. We're almost the exact same age. And it's just kind of cool that we can have different points of view on a lot of things and agree on a lot of things. That's part of this community, I think. Tacoma says he likes to read, but why don't I go for trades or digital? And I do. I have Marvel Unlimited currently, and I think it ends in May or June somewhere. And I do get the trades. When I really love a story, I'll buy the trade. So I bought the Thanos Donny Cates trade. And he signed that for me when he came to my LCS. And I will, if I love a story emphatically, I will definitely buy that trade, because I want to read it again and again and again. And I won't have the digital copies forever unless I download them and store them somewhere. But a trade I can enjoy forever, and I can give to my girls, and they can enjoy it as well. So I have a huge trade collection, and at some point I'd love to put them up and shelve them as well, because there's a lot of fun to show off some of those stories. Are you trying to get new company? Are you going to try the new company and their openable slabs? You know what? I have not even thought about it, Discovery Bay. I know Reggie's going to be involved, and I will definitely watch his channel to see kind of how those things go. But I'm curious for sure. If I lived somewhere like in Florida or Texas, where I think it's Texas for CBCS, am I right? I don't remember where CBCS is located anymore. I thought it was somewhere in the middle of the country. But I think CGC is Florida. If I lived nearby, and I wouldn't mind, and I could hand deliver or something like that. Maybe I'd be more interested. I just I don't know. The cost is always the biggest hurdle for me. Like the output of money. I don't know. Carlito says he bought the Watchmen trade, Batwoman, Ninjak, and Old Man Logan. The rest have all been from Tom. And you know, I just sent Jeffrey Comic-Con an Old Man Logan. He had never read it, and I was like, dude, you have to read this. And I was like, here's your Christmas present. I just bought and I Amazoned it to him because Old Man Logan's a great story, and he's a Hulk fan, and Hulk is perfectly awful in that storyline. I may have to get him Planet Hulk as well because he says he's never read Planet Hulk, and I was like, wait, that's the greatest Hulk story that I know of. How has he not read? He's the Hulk fan. I got to get him that trade just to let him read it. He's wore down on trades on stories like Year One and Hush. Yeah, I mean, I read them a bunch. I love those kind of trades and reading through them. I'm going to go, though, guys. I got to wrap Christmas presents. I got a Lego set for the girls here. I got DVDs, and I got – let's see if I don't want to spoil their Christmas presents. I don't think they're watching. I got a cool Marauders map for Kate. And I showed Matt. I got Princess Bride. I think I even posted this on my Instagram. They had this amazing edition at Costco. Really cool. I got a Harry Potter Lego set. Here, I'll show that. The girls are going to freak for that. A nice big Harry Potter Lego set. So we're gonna wrap some Christmas presents for the girls, and then go to some Christmas parties. I got Christmas parties all week. In fact, I got to figure out when to like fit everything else in. I hope everybody's having a great holiday season. I'm gonna try to get all those gift packages I'm sending out for all the kids. If I haven't spoken to you about getting an address or interest on your kids, and you think they'd be interested, hit me on Instagram. Let me know. We're going to try to box those up tomorrow and then hopefully send them out. I don't know. At some point, we'll have to find time. It's going to be more of a New Year's gift more than likely just because it's hard to fit it all in. I'm glad I helped Tacoma. That's not – I'm glad that helped a little bit. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you have a nice holiday.